You'll get an offer and, they're like, wow, this is low. And then you can negotiate to somewhat. If they don't deal with that offer and accept it, it will be lower. And it just like not just a few thousand, it gets lower. Yeah, let me see here. Condos dates to sell. Looks like destination. The cash flow, the negative monthly cash flow is just killing them. And then you got the condo fees. And for the people that can get out. But for the people who can't, I honestly don't know. I don't want to give them bad advice. Like, what are you going to do? Walk away? We are hedging ourselves against the market because it's going down and we're not paying you what the market said it was within the last 3 months because it's going to be worth what we're paying in the next 6 months. Well, I was in a room with some people and I'm not into the commercial space at all and lending and all that stuff. I just hear what I hear as a regular citizen here. But I did hear them say like this time and in the last 5 to 10 years, like the banks did get into the lending, development lending and this kind of lending where before they didn't go through the big banks, right? It was that they didn't fund those kind of projects, but this time they did, and why they're doing all that, those blanket appraisals, and they want to see them succeed. So the banks are literally propping up, and we still see them, a lot of them go under, but they're from smaller developers or developers that haven't teamed up with the banks, which is probably a smart choice by the developers teaming up with the bank because the bank's literally keeping them alive and inflating values. But so they're inflating these values of these units to a lot higher than they should be, 20% higher in most cases or in many cases. Someone's buying this and they're inflating them for end users or for the speculators or the purchasers. But so these people are immediately underwater. So just think about all the bad loans that the banks are going to have on their books when it comes to these condos. And they're not going to be able to. So their plan is to wait it out. We're just going to wait it out for like a decade and then then they'll be even, and it's still risky. It's craziness that, and this is just, again, it's more of this kicking the can down the road BS. And we've been doing this for however long, and they're just still doing it. And they're just going to come up with new ways to do it. But it's like a lie. Once you start to lie, that lie just turns into all these other lies. And this is what's happening with the banking system and the real estate, everything. It's nuts.
No, it really, really is. So I'll move on to the average sales price of condos now. Again, so they took out that blow off top, they went down, and have they hit a new low? It's kind of hard to see on that chart.
No, the data's right beside it there. Yeah, so 628 is the average price. So look at like 2020, it was like 550 or 563. We're like not that. We're like what 10% or so above like 2020 prices when it comes to condos, and we're talking resale condos here. Like the pre-construction's a whole different story. But so yeah, you look at, and this is what I was talking about, comparing freehold to the condos. If you look at the condo compared with 2021 for June, it was higher by $6,000. So it's the opposite. So condos are a little bit higher than they were in June 2021, and freehold was about $8,000 lower this year than they were in 2021. So and this is what people don't understand. It's the both charts look the same, and I pointed this out, and it was to some other whatever social media people that are online on X and stuff, and I've heard it since last year. Like when I talk, and they'll say, "Well, separate the condos from the freehold because the freeholds are invincible and nothing's going to happen to those, and they're resilient, and because freehold's more, it's rare, and they're not building them, and I did that, and freehold was worse in almost every metric. Again, we have the condos, which are like rock bottom sales, and they have fared equal or a little bit better than the freehold has. So again,
This video was powered by ExpressVPN, helping you protect your privacy with the world's fastest VPN and the VPN that I use. If you want to take advantage of my special offer, go to expressvpn.com/Market Mania. Let's get back to it.
So again, this is not about condos, this market correction or crash. This is about everything, right? All real estate. And so there you have it. Condos, again, they're showing new lows this year for most months. And actually, if you look at May was lower 2025
Mhm.
than 2021, and so was April, so was March, and then not February or January. So we're definitely seeing like every way you look at this data, it just keeps showing like it's not like, well, it looks like it's getting better when you look at this. No, everything you look at shows it's getting worse. Like it doesn't matter how you dice the potato, it's just it comes out the same way at the end of the day, right? And again, looking at take that blow off top, we've been trending sideways, and we haven't really seen a crash because we haven't seen the circumstances for a crash, right? We haven't seen the environment for a crash. We're seeing, unemployment is, and of course they're adding public sector jobs, and they've come up with new tricks, right? Every cycle, and of course they learn from the last one, but they learn how to mask it, how to prolong it, and this is what they're doing. They clearly, looking at this data, they've done a good job prolonging the thing. Even like you think back to like what Chrystia Freeland announced like last year, it's like, hey guys, like I got a solution. Just go, instead of borrowing $1 million, borrow 1.5 million. Borrow money to build a shed in your backyard, like, and call it a granny flat or whatever. Like they're just like these are all the tricks of the trade, right? That they're using 30-year mortgages for first-time buyers or whatever, right? It's just like everything. But and so they have been propping up this market, and but it's not working.
Yeah, no, it isn't working. And again, like loads of inflation happened during 2022, 2021, 2023. And it's like, yeah, this has just trended sideways as well. So it's pretty much like it's going down. And the condo market seems to be where the most denial is. And I wonder whether that denial, the fact that people aren't cutting their prices that much, is really just because they can't afford to, like, and that's going to turn into just more distress in that area of the market, because as we've said, like, who is going to buy all these shitbox condos that are coming online that are like 400 square feet?
The smart people get out, like get out while you can, sell what you can. And I don't even know how people can believe that they're going to stick around and wait until the spring. Like, I haven't heard anyone really this year say, I'm going to wait until the spring. Like, I'm sure maybe in the fall, once the fall hits, they'll say it again. But like every spring has been worse. Looking at the data, it's like lower. It gets lower highs every year. So yeah, no, they really have to come to terms with reality. And like, if you need to sell an extra property, or like, take the loss, get out. It's just going to get worse. Like, I have these conversations every day with people, and the offers, oh my God, like, they say the first offer is the best offer. And I like almost every seller, you'll get an offer and, they're like, wow, this is low. And then you can negotiate to somewhat. If they don't deal with that offer and accept it, it will be lower. And it just like not just a few thousand, it gets lower. And the offers are just like, and then sellers, or sort of the buyers, know that these sellers are sitting ducks. So they need to negotiate and like get the sale done and get out. It's like, don't mess around. Things aren't going to change anytime soon. Actually, someone just told me today they heard 2026 was going to be things was going to be booming again. Actually, I don't think so. It's like 2026 is going to be, it's going to be like we're looking at like bottoms in like 2026 or 2027. Like we're not even close. And it was, I was just like laughing, and I don't know who told, like, people just tell you things, right? They'll say, and it's just talk, right? It's like Bitcoin's going to go to 500,000. It's like, okay, all right. Do you got any data to back that up? And they're like, well, no, it just is because there's nothing else, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, do they do it with real estate? Real estate is going to, and I say, okay, like where, like, well, our boss said it at, one of the brokerages or whatever. And it's like, no, the boss wants it to go like that, but it's not going to happen. Like, but they had never have any data. Like, give me something, give me some proof, right? Like, I've never seen proof.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And then this is the condos days to sell, and it's also trending up, which goes with all the other data.
Yeah, let me see here. Condos dates to sell. Looks like destination 5. That's what that is.
Yeah,
like as Aussie man would say. Yeah, look at the days to sell there, up and up. I just don't understand this. 38 days to sell a condo, but look at 2020. So 2020, you have like 20 days. The pandemic, 25 days in May 2020, 21 days to sell in May 2020, in April 2020. And look at this year, 38 days. So I want to really put this into perspective. So people in condos, and even June, July, everything, this is during the pandemic. So So I don't know if anyone knows this. I'm sure you do in Toronto. So during the pandemic, if you lived in a condo in Toronto, and this is not just about the pandemic. This is like long term. You should like really keep this information, close to you. So I remember listening and hearing all these stories from people that during the pandemic you could only allow 3 people in these elevators in the condos because of social
Oh
distancing.
my
So it would take you
God.
like 2 hours to get out of your building or whatever. It was like crazy, and that's why people were like, I'm leaving, like I'm out of here. They loved it, right? They went to the suburbs. So you literally had to wait like an hour to 2 to go walk your dog during the pandemic, and the days on market were only 21 to 25, and now they're 38, and you can get them. And nobody's living in these things. You don't even have to wait for the elevator. It's there's nobody in there, and you're
Oh
paying,
my
and
gosh.
it takes almost double the amount of time to sell the thing. So look at even 2021. Like look at the days on market, days to sell average in 2021. Like it was in the
Yeah,
teens,
low. Yeah.
and
Yeah, really low.
and now you're 38 days on market. Look at January this year, 47 days. Is that a
47,
record?
yeah.
That's a record out of all of them.
Oh
47
my
days,
gosh.
and to get into a shoebox that you can't take, the building could be on fire and you're going to be waiting for the elevator.
Yeah, yeah. And that says to me, what do you think of that? Because it says to me that, like, again, a lot of the sellers are in denial on that and they're not prepared to take the price cuts. That's why it's trending up, because there's a huge amount of supply and there's still some sales going on, not that many.
Well, I just wouldn't want to be them, because the carrying costs, right? There's
Oh,
so many
they're
people like that.
ridiculous.
The cash flow, the negative monthly cash flow is just killing them. And then you got the condo fees, and like it's like the condo fees are ridiculous, and the property taxes, and they're in denial. Like we are changing. It takes so long for these cycles to change, but we are changing slowly from this denial phase to this fear. But the smart people right now are getting out if they can. Some people can't get out. You're like, okay, I don't have $200,000 to pay the bank to get out, or
Yeah.
100,000. You literally have to pay them. So what's your choice? Sit there paying negative cash flow every month, or
Mhm.
just like say screw it and just like walk away and stop making your payments. But there's no other way to do it. So yeah, I think that for the people that can get out, but for the people who can't, I honestly don't know. I don't want to give them bad advice. Like, what are you gonna do? Walk away? Just leave? Jingle
Yeah.
mail?
Well, I mean, that could be coming down the pipe. More and more people are losing their job and then they're going to be forced into it. Yeah. I mean, how many people can afford to take a hit of like $100,000, $150,000? Like, not many, I don't think. Yeah, it'll be a total disaster for them, really, and to a certain extent. If there's a lot of that happening, are the banks really likely to pursue every single one? Again, I don't think so, because the courts would just be clogged up with cases, because obviously the banks can go after people beyond what they paid or what they owed. They don't pay it back. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens over the next sort of 6 to 12 months, because I don't think that the unemployment rate's going down, and I don't see any economic boom on the horizon. In fact, like, now you've got the anchor of like the global economy going into a recession. I mean, Canada's been since 2022, really, because of the amount of debt. But other economies now are just being, the interest rates are finally hitting. They hit so fast in Canada because there was so much debt, right?
Well, that was just like a reaction, that wasn't the fundamentals of the interest rates hadn't hit, because it takes like 12 to 18 months for those to take effect. It was just like, whoa, this party's over. Like someone just like literally unplugged the stereo, and it was just like, it's over.
Wow, yeah. Well, yeah.
And now, what we're seeing now, like what I'm seeing on the ground here with sales, like when things are on the way up, right? Like a house was, X number of dollars, $700,000, the sales would support that. So you look at the comparable, and that's what the appraisers do. They say, okay, let's look at the comparables for the same houses. Okay, 700. Well, I'm paying 725 because I really want this house. And so you're, and it's not like this, the buyers weren't really complaining. They were like happy that they got the house, but there wasn't that sense of defeat. It was a victory. They're like, I got the house, right? Like, and all these other people, and that's great. But on the way down now, it's a lot harder psychologically to do that. So, but I'm doing it like with my buyers. Like, it happens like just in the last 2 weeks, like 2 different buyers, we set new lows or new, yearly lows on these types of properties. And but like the seller's like, well, like the closest sales this is this price, 700,000, and we're like, well, we're giving you 670, like our max is 675, and they're like, well, like no, like the other one sold for this, yeah, but on the way up they were selling for that, and you got more, but now they're the opposite. And it's so like that discussion is so much harder because who want like how do you justify a house being worth less? And so then I always, me, I'm a numbers guy, so I have the comparables, and I've literally told 2 agents, like, again, and probably within a week, but in the last couple of weeks, we are hedging ourselves against the market because it's going down, and we're not paying you what the market said it was within the last 3 months because it's going to be worth what we're paying in the next 6 months. So like, I have nothing left but just to say, like, because usually you'd say, like, here's the data, this is what it's worth. So I say, here's the data, this is what it's worth, and you're also getting 5% less because it's because the market's trending that way, and they bought it both times. They freaking sellers bought this, and my buyers got the properties, and so we like set like these new records on the way down, and so the other people are going to see these sales when they go to sell one, and it could be within a few months, and they're going to say, well, look, this everyone else got this much, but I just saw one sell over here for under that, and that's what it needs. But I guess my point is, it's so much harder to bring prices down than it was to bring them up. And this is why we're seeing this slow trend down, and until like something like catastrophic happens in the economy, and we haven't seen that yet. But again, prices are still going down just because of the downward pressure, and the fundamentals are returning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because you've seen unemployment that has gone up, like the economy's worsening, but it's also like barcoding kind of the same as real estate. Like the trends are kind of just going sideways instead of skyrocketing upwards, and that's really but you are seeing a lot of like the statistics that Equifax publishes and TransUnion are saying, like, yeah, a lot of people are defaulting like 100% more than the last year. So that is really jumping up, but they're still at fairly low levels now. But it will be interesting to see what happens with that, because that data is so laggy as well. I think we just had like Q1. So we're in Q3 right now, and we had Q1, like, which was literally 3-4 weeks ago in June. So it's kind of crazy how it's all unfolding. And I think it's really going to be interesting to see how the economy also takes the fact that this immigration bubble, it looks like it's bursting right now. And especially, like, I saw international students, which was a big component of the immigration bubble, and that's down like 70% when you take into the fact that a lot of the study permits that got renewed this year were people that were already in Canada. So they're not like adding anything to GDP, to the economy, whatever you want to call it. So it's and a lot of that has kind of fudged the numbers. And I'm pretty certain that Canada is in an official recession right now, and most economists believe that as well now. But like, what does that even really mean? Like, what does it mean to the average person when you're in an official recession? Like, people's wages have been stagnating for years, if not going down. The price of everything has gone up. That hasn't come back down. It's just like a disaster for the middle class, essentially.
And the price of everything is still going up, right? It's like so like when we look at I look at condo documents when someone's buying a condo, and I don't sell too many condos, but again, these are like townhouses and stuff around here. But you review the status certificate on the condo docs, and I look at the reserve fund studies, because they're required to do a reserve fund study every 3 years or so, and all of them have these like 10% increases into 2026 and 2027 until they go back to 1.75%. So like, I think the 2026 was the soonest I've seen like these big increases stop. But I just saw one the other day that was 2027. So they're lagging behind because they get their bill from, the landscaper this year, and it's gone up, but then they have to book that in for next year. But these things are all hitting now, and they're still hitting. So like, yeah, like the real inflation is still hitting. hitting, but it won't be shown in a lot of things because you're going to have deflation and other things, right? So, but there's still like, yeah, these services and a lot of things that are inflating right now. So,
well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like the government can come out and say, "Oh yeah, inflation is 2%." If you look, you're like in the condo board, and inflation is really actually like your costs are rising 8-10%. You have to increase the fees by that much. So that's why I always say, like, what does it matter to people what the government tells you inflation is? Like your inflation will be different to mine and vice versa, and it goes the same for different businesses and things like that. Like there's no way that inflation has been at the levels the government has said. You really have to double it, and if you look at shadow stats, they do that with the US data, and I think that's really good. They actually use previous measures that were more accurate in the 80s and 90s, where they weren't meddling with the components of it all the time. It's like, I mean, the great example of it is when the used car bubble happened. We all remember that. Then they added the used car sale prices into the CPI after they missed all the increase. And now they're gonna like have all the decrease in that, weighing it down. And it's like, man, it's just so, it should be a fixed basket of goods, at least for one CPI, just so that you can track it. Because how can you track something over time where the components are constantly changing? It's impossible.
No, it's
impossible.
craziness. Look at property tax. Like I think like most places had like 8 to 10% increases in property tax this year. Like they're still, and it's gonna next year it's gonna be the same thing. Insurance now, I've heard a lot of people talking about this in Ontario, but like they're talking like their insurance went up like 30-40% for their car insurance. So, and I haven't got my renewal yet, but I'm going to be watching that and reporting on it if it does go up that much. But yeah, so you're paying $1,200 a year, and it goes up to $1,800 or whatever, right? It's like going up massively, and of course you got all the taxes and the HST on that, which pretty much almost puts it at 50%. So
yeah, and it's just more expenses that are like necessary for households, but you know, how can they afford to take these increases? Like they have to take money away from somewhere else then, and then that filters into the economy, and you can just see that's happening more and more, and people aren't going to be getting these wage increases now in the current state of the economy. There's no way. So again, like it's just rubber is going to meet the road at some point. I think it already is right now. Like I think the economy is definitely in a technical recession, even though I don't like that bullshit term. Like I've been saying, it's been in recession since 2022 because it's been going backwards, not forwards, especially if you take away all the population growth.
Well, and that's why like Carney is, added all this extra spending, but he's shifted some things around, so it looks like he's spending less here and there, and this is not. And then he divided it into two categories now. Like he's crafty, right, with how he's doing it. But yeah, there's just even in the States with Trump, like, and that's what the big row was with Elon and him, was like Elon came in to cut all this waste, and then but he has no choice to run a deficit and to borrow money, or else it's just going to be bad and the economy is going to go into recession. But every politician is just trying to avoid this. Yeah, like what's going to happen? It's inflation or recession. It's one or the other, right? So, and that's where we're going to end up. And I think that inflation probably won't go away for discretionary things and household spending, but it will come out of real estate, because real estate's obviously deflating, and in real terms deflating a lot more than nominal terms. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen. But the governments, they're playing their tricks and spending whatever they can and trying to hide it from the population.
Well, yeah. And people know as well, like the moving away from China manufacturing, that is going to be expensive. I mean, we've already seen with the elbows up nonsense, like the cost differences between Canadian products and US products, even with all the tariffs. So how do you think that's going to work with like Chinese stuff going back to the US? Like that's all just going to be inflationary in the future. Right now, there's no money for that. But I mean, they want to raise their prices. Like you hear it from all the major CEOs like McDonald's and other places, like their costs are still going up. They want to raise prices, but people can't afford it. So they're like, we can't do anything. So they're just waiting. As soon as that money printer goes on, stimulus checks start flowing out, then that is all the prices of everything.
It's all right. The Canadians, I'm pretty sure you're going to be living in a Chinese home soon, because like these prefab, well, it's true. These prefab homes and these modular homes, they are coming. Like the container homes probably aren't going to happen, because those are like literally shipping containers. But like they're modular homes that they're going to build in factories. I guarantee you, so a lot of that material is going to come directly from China. The only reason we don't have Chinese cars in Canada is because of our automotive industry, and it would kill it. But they're pushing for 20% electric cars next year, and like electric car ownership or purchasing is on the decline significantly. But like, if you need electric cars, why don't you get them from China? They have lots of electric cars, because it's going to kill the auto industry. But the housing industry, it's different, right? They don't care. They just build them. We don't care what they're built of or where they're built. Just like build them in a factory or whatever, and let's just try to overcharge these Canadians $500,000 for a 1-bedroom modular and put them on a lifetime mortgage on leased land. But it's going to be made in factories with bought from China. Like most of the stuff that you get, or not most, but a lot of the stuff you get in homes is made from China, like the light fixtures and like all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's going to be more and more, because they're not going to be able to build them with Canadian-made stuff. So you're going to be like, you already are living in a Chinese home, like it's all your furniture and your clothes, and like it's just going to become more and more because we can't afford to make it ourselves.
Yeah, it's so true. And you know what? Like, it's funny with the tiny homes thing, because like I've seen all over Canada, like some of these new subdivisions, some of the small detached, especially the laned homes, they look like tiny homes. Like they're so close together, and they've maybe got like this one tiny window in the front. Like they're not big at all. I think we've actually discussed it on previous videos that we've done together.
Yeah, and you can buy like modular. You probably see that too. Like they'll be like buying like freaking, those Amazon freaking homes that you can buy. You can get them in the States actually, or like you can buy them from like Home Depot and just like insulate the sheds or whatever. I guarantee you're gonna see some of that. Like people will be buying these homes, or the government will probably be buying the homes from China, getting them shipped over, and then constructing them in the factory, and be like, "We look at these constructed in the factory here." Like it's like the apples. The apples. I'm like, so I go to Walmart, and the apples are product of Canada, right? And I call the guy over. He was like an Indian student. Get over here. Look at this. What is this crap? I'm like, look at it. It says Chile. The apples are from Chile, but it says product of Canada. And then they have bags of apples, the same ones. And then I go look, and he goes, "Oh, look at these ones. They're from," the little sticker says Argentina, but then it says product of China on the frickin', like, I'm like, it's because they like put them in a bag or they put them in a box, right, in Canada, and they're like product of Canada, because it's a product. It wasn't grown in Canada. So that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna say you're gonna get this home. It's gonna be like, shopping at frickin' online for it, and it's gonna say product of Canada, but it's gonna be all Chinese parts and imported, and they're just gonna put it together here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that's probably going to happen. Listen, John, I know you're strapped for time, and I want to thank you so much for spending the time to come on the show again. It's always great to chat with you, and I know the audience absolutely loves you as well. Have you got any final words of wisdom before you go here?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to my story, what I was, talking about when on the way up, when prices go up, you're paying a little bit more. So don't be scared to pay a little less, and use the excuse that, yes, all the other homes sold for whatever, 700,000, but I'm giving you 675 because the market's on the way down, and you need to hedge yourself. Like, you're just keeping prices elevated, and someone else is going to negotiate better. So you might as well, it might as well be you. So yeah, make sure you negotiate strong when you're purchasing a home. And on the other side of the coin, sellers, you got to sell because it's not your market. Take what you can and sell that thing.
Yeah. Well, you heard him, guys. Listen, John, thank you so much for coming on here again. If you've enjoyed this video, please support the channel by going to expressvpn.com/market mania and getting yourself a VPN to get around Bill C-11 and all the censorship laws in Canada. If you've enjoyed this video, you might like this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.